Imagine a normally quiet and disciplined military gate transformed into a sea of purple. Thousands of people stood, carrying light sticks, banners, and tears of joy. They weren't soldiers. They were army, and today they weren't here to fight, but to welcome home the warrior of love, Jungkook. Today was no ordinary day for armies around the world. After nearly 2 years of patient waiting, BTS's Jungkook was finally scheduled to be discharged from his mandatory military service. And as you might expect, the reception that took place at the South Korean military gate was no joke. This wasn't just a reunion, it was a celebration. A sea of purple stretched out not just in the real world but also on social media. This moment wasn't just about an idol finishing his military service. It was about emotional attachment, boundless loyalty, and how a young man named Jungkook was able to leave the stage, step away from the spotlight, and return a stronger man, with the love of his millions of fans intact. But before we get into what happened at the military gate today, let's take a step back. We need to understand, why is this moment so meaningful? How can the military gate turn into such an emotional and loving place? First, let's talk about the concept of loyalty and fandom. In the world of social psychology, there is something called a parasocial relationship, a one-way relationship where someone feels very close to a public figure even though they never really interact. But BTS, especially Jungkook, takes this concept to a different level. Their interactions with their fans are so warm and consistent that this relationship has developed into what is called a collective identity. Armies are not just fans. They feel like they are part of Jungkook's life, and in return, Jungkook often admits that he gets great strength from the love of armies. When Jungkook entered the military, many armies felt a sense of loss. However, it was not a loss like being abandoned, but more like letting go of someone who went to fight. It was a kind of mature love, one that was willing to wait, even if it meant missing him every day. So, as soon as his return date was announced, armies prepared. Some saved up well in advance to be able to come to Korea. Some made banners, costumes, and even rented LED trucks to display welcoming messages. All of this was done to show one thing: we never left. We are still here, and we will welcome you home. Today, the atmosphere in front of the military gate is no longer about military lines or shouts of commands. Today, what can be heard is BTS songs playing from the fan speakers, the tears of emotion from the faces that have been waiting, and the happy smiles of those who know this struggle is finally over. When Jungkook appeared, wearing his dashing military uniform, the atmosphere suddenly fell silent. Not because of fear, but because there are no words that are enough to describe the overwhelming emotion. And Jungkook, as usual, bowed politely, saluted, and waved with his signature smile. His face is a little more mature, his body is more muscular, but his aura remains the same. Soft, warm, and full of love. Some armies even brought flags from their home countries. There were some from the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, even America and Europe. These are not just local fans, this is a global movement. And this is what makes BTS different. They don't just entertain, they unite the world. Why is the military gate a sea of purple? Because purple is not just a color for army. In BTS's philosophy, especially since VK Taeyong introduced the term I purple you, purple is a symbol of eternal love. Purple is the last color in the rainbow, a sign of love that will not fade. So when the sea of purple appears today, it is not just aesthetics. It is a language of love, a statement of loyalty, and a tangible form of emotional bond between Jungkook and ARMY. Theoretically, we can call this a form of emotional convergence, when a large group of people experience the same emotions at the same time and place. This phenomenon strengthens collective identity and creates an experience that will be remembered for a lifetime. And what's interesting, all of this is done without instructions, without an official organization. ARMY moves spontaneously, but is very neatly coordinated. This is a real example of what is called a grassroots fandom movement, a grassroots movement born from the heart and love, not because of commercial or management demands. Now, after 2 years of military service, we can see that Jungkook has not lost a single fan. On the contrary, he returned as a more respected figure. And today's welcome is real proof that ARMY's love never fades, it even grows stronger. Jungkook himself must know that love this big doesn't just happen. It's the result of dedication, hard work, and a sincere heart. And when he looked out at the sea of purple today, he didn't just see fans. He saw family. And for all of us watching this moment from our phone or laptop screens, we know that this isn't just an ordinary welcome. This is history. This is proof that music, love, and loyalty can form a strong, loving, and unshakable global community. So to Jungkook, welcome back. To ARMY, thank you for creating such a beautiful moment. And for those of you watching this video, remember that true love will always find its way home. And do you know what's most touching about all of this? After the welcome was over, most ARMY didn't go home right away. They stayed there. Some sat on the sidewalk, holding light sticks that they hadn't turned off since morning. Some cried softly, not because they were sad, but because they were relieved. Felt like they had just released a long burden that they had been carrying silently. For many fans, the military service is not only a test for Jungkook, but also a test for themselves. It's about how strong they can survive without their idol on screen, in live broadcasts, or in new songs. And today, with Jungkook standing back in front of them, all those struggles have paid off. What's interesting is, throughout Jungkook's military service, ARMY never really stopped moving. They remained active in promoting BTS's works, continued to create social projects, and continued to show their existence as a solid and loving fandom. In fact, in many countries, ARMY used the military service as a time to strengthen their community. They held gatherings, charity projects, and even open discussions about mental health and the meaning of loyalty. Amazing, right? That's what makes ARMY different. They are not just waiting spectators. They are an active part of BTS's journey, including when the members had to take a break for the sake of national responsibility. And now, with Jungkook's return, a new chapter has officially begun. Theoretically, we can see this as a reconnection phase in a parasocial relationship. After a hiatus, there will be something called emotional reconnection, which is a process where the relationship between idols and fans is strengthened again through significant emotional moments. And the welcome at the military gate was the peak. There are many speculations that have emerged after this. Will Jungkook make a solo comeback right away? Will BTS start preparing for their big reunion after all the members have finished their military service? Will there be a new song release with a theme of returning home or struggling? All of that is still a mystery. But one thing is for sure, whatever comes next, ARMY is ready. They are not only ready to watch, but also ready to walk together. In fact, we are witnessing something very rare. Namely, a relationship between artists and fans that is not destroyed by time, not fragile by distance, and does not depend on popularity alone. Many artists experience a drastic decline in existence when they return from military service. But Jungkook? Even before he left the barracks, his name was already trending worldwide. His songs were still being played. Fan projects were still alive. Even his old videos were being re-watched, as if time had stopped just to wait for him to return. And this is what shows the power of fandom as a community that has its own emotional ecosystem. They have rhythm, they have unwritten rules, and most importantly, they have hearts. And amidst all the dynamics of the entertainment industry that are sometimes cruel and quick to forget, ARMY proves that true love is still real. We also need to see the other side of all this, from Jungkook's perspective. Can you imagine how touched he was to see the huge crowd standing waiting for him, even before the sun rose? They came with faces full of hope, holding banners that read, "Welcome home, our golden Magne." Some came alone, some came in groups, and there was even a little child who came with his mother while carrying a Jungkook doll. Moments like this can't be bought with money, can't be created with promotional strategies. This can only happen because there is a deep soul connection between a young man who once dreamed of becoming a singer and millions of people who see him as a source of strength.